Or maybe she does this when she just would get uptight. But she would put her hands up like this. We call them windshield wiper hands. And that meant back off, stop doing what you're doing, you're bugging me, lay off.
I think more than one husband of ours seen us do that. You look just like your mother.
Okay, this was in high school, and I was again, if you believe it, a scatterbrained blonde teenager, and I was really late for work one day, and I was going a million miles an hour down our road, and it's kind of curvy and hilly, and I just wanted to get to work, and I come around this corner that goes down a hill, and lo and behold, there is my mother driving up the hill, and I hit her. And so, not only did I hurt my car, well, it was their car, I was a teenager, I hurt two of their cars, and I was devastated. Oh my goodness, I knew I was in so much trouble. My dad's such a car guy, and I was a little frightened. And I went to work, and I cried, and I got home, and I was so scared to go talk to my parents, and I sat down, and I said, okay, what now? I'm so sorry. And my mom goes, Carrie, I was ready to kill you, but when I saw your face when you realized who it was, I knew that you had already been punished. So not only, she just was a very dear mom. She just cared about us so much, and she knew what we needed. And I really was punished. I felt awful, so.
Again, my mom's life was teaching, and I'm going to share another story. And it's interesting because I had heard this story years ago from my mom, and then I heard it from the person not too long ago, and I'm going to share it with you. There was a young boy in her class, and again it was 4th or 5th grade, who couldn't read very well. And as my mom tells the story, she loved him and thought he was the neatest boy around, and he was smart. According to my mom, he learned somehow through her helping him to read. According to him, she changed his life. He's now a lawyer, and if you know how to be a lawyer, you know you have to read. And she took the time to take this young 4th grade boy and do whatever it took to meet that need of reading. And I could share 20 stories of people who have come to me and shared things like that of her and her teaching career. And I just tribute to her on how much she loved her students.
My mom had a very special relationship with her brother Jack and her sister Chris. They are family by blood, but they are definitely friends by choice. And always have been my whole life. As a matter of fact, my Uncle Jack would call my mom every week, and my mom would look forward to these calls, and he would call to just check in. And she would be on the phone forever, hours sometimes, talking to either Chris or Jack. And it would sure tick Carrie off, because Carrie would be calling Mom for one of her Kmart runs, not be able to get through. And so she would call Dad on the cell phone and say, who in the heck is she talking to? And it was always Chris or Jack. She sure loved them. And they have played a very big role in our growing up life. And to see the closeness that they share has definitely been an example to us.
We wouldn't do justice without speaking of the most precious relationship my mom had. I'd like to think that was with me. You weren't supposed to laugh at that. But it was with my dad. If you know my parents, they are connected at the hip. And we just laugh at them because the ham. Every Christmas for, well, 35 years that I remember, my poor dad could not cut that ham right. And my mom let him know. I'm going to miss that as much as anything, is my mom getting on my dad for cutting the ham too thick in the wrong way every Christmas. And that's what they did. And she would sometimes yap at him, "Oh, Marsh, now it's okay." They truly, truly loved each other. And we want to spend a few minutes as we're closing up talking about that special relationship between my mom and my dad. And my Aunt Chris wrote something that I thought talked about this quite well, at least in their early years. And Chris wrote, "Marcia dated everyone. She could do that because in her teens and early 20s, she was darling. She had dates with intellectuals, the musically talented, and the athletically minded." I think she's trying to make a distinction there. I literally can remember that she would have a different date every night of the weekend, or at least as many times as her parents would let her date. But then she met Tom. No one matched him for the off-the-charts fun he was. No one in their right minds would have thought to match the prim and proper Marcia with the cowboy from the valley, but it worked. You want to see a lesson in devotion and loyalty, then take a good long look at the two of them. They made their differences their strengths. Tom was gutsy and Marcia was cautious. It couldn't have been easy, but oh, it was worth it. They were perfect together. Oh, it's me again. Talking about the prim and proper mom. And Dad just shared this story with us this week. And that's one of the fun things about funerals, is you get all these stories. Stinky, fun. One of the fun things about it is you get to hear all these stories that you didn't hear before. And he said that after he and my mom were married for about 4 years, she came up to him and said, "Tom, I need to ask you a question." And she was kind of hesitant, and he could tell it was kind of a big deal. And he's like, "Okay, Marcia, what is it?" She's like, "Well," and she was embarrassed, "I need to ask you what a word is." He's like, "Okay, what's a navel? I think it's something dirty." I laughed so hard because that's my prim and proper mom.